We're closing in here on the 2022 Nebraska football season. Hi, Sean Callahan with Husker Online and ABM, and we continue our in-depth look at this Nebraska football team. Today, we're talking to a very high-profile group of offensive linemen. Joining us here, we've got Trent Hixson, Turner Corcoran, Teddy Prochazka, and Broc Bando. Guys, welcome. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Thanks for having us.
Well, we're going to change it up. I want to make this more conversational, and I just want to throw some topics to you guys and, talk about last year, talk about the changes, kind of this season, what you're thinking about. And Teddy, I'm going to just throw this right at you. I mean, when you go back to last year, how much you guys think about that, and how much have you tried to kind of move on from that?
Yeah, it's definitely on people's minds, and it kind of, you have that spark that's underneath you every time you think of the last year games and stuff, especially for me, because I feel like I left so much that I could have done, but they just got cut short. So it's kind of a motivation for me, and I know for the rest of the team, to just get those 1-point games, 1-score games just cleaned up.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it all kind of came down to a handful of plays, and we're doing everything we can right now to eliminate those right now instead of have to suffer the consequences here in the fall.
Yeah, and we're really just kind of focused on a fresh start. We have new coaches here, new plays and whatnot, so it's kind of a fresh start. Let's see what we can do this next year.
We also just missed Teddy on the sideline, so.
Yeah, for you, Teddy, it's got to be so crazy. You were going against Aiden Hutchinson, the number 1 pick in the draft, and you're number two. And correct me if I'm wrong, he was held sackless, and you were playing your first game at right tackle. And the week before against Northwestern, it just looked lights out. The way you guys played as a group, and just how, when you think about the highs and the lows of just kind of that Michigan game, I'm sure that weighs on your mind still today.
Yeah, and after some time passed and I kind of healed from the whole experience of it happening, I kind of let guys shoot their shots at me that Aiden Hutchinson tore my ACL or whatever. But I was pretty just you think about those and what could have happened or something like that. If not saying anything would have changed, but if I was out there, just things that go through my head, if I was out there, this would have happened or something like that. But that game was just so kind of cool to still be a part of. That's why I was pumped to get back out there, and the boys were still going good, and it looked like they were playing hard, and it just kind of sucked the way it ended.
Turner, how good was that combination going to be if you guys could have kept it together? Just kind of the way you guys were flowing with that new right and left side.
Yeah, no, I think that we played well together, and the whole group as a unit, we were rolling at that point, and when the turn of events happened, it's kind of just like a next man mentality. I thought Bryce came in and played well. At the end of the day, it's kind of what it is. Like I said earlier, it's a matter of 4 or 5 plays that we got to eliminate.
And Trent and Broc, I think a lot of young guys can learn from you. You guys are both going to your 6th year, and you both had ups and downs and been on the field and had to wait your time. And finally, in your 6th year, you guys are both projected, at least right now, as starters going into the year. When you see young guys frustrated that they're not playing as freshmen, you sometimes sit them down and say, listen, guys, it doesn't work like this always.
Yeah, I know we have 2 walk-ons here, and they're going to be really good athletes. And it's kind of just walking them through the process, getting to understand our drills, getting to understand the playbook, which is a hard process when you go from high school to college. So, the people that come in as freshmen and play, they're freaks of nature, and that's not typical for offensive linemen, especially in Big Ten football. So, just getting to that next level mentality, the next level, just knowing what you're doing, and it's such a big game compared to high school. So it's really just hard for them to turn the corner. So you kind of have to sit them down, but I think once they get into the fire, they understand I'm gonna have to wait my time a little bit.
Like you said, there is a difference between being a young skill guy and then a young O-line. You got to put on that muscle, and instead of just being you got to be lean to also play. You just can't be fat, and some guys come in like that, and they just got to lean out and still be heavy to play, and it takes time. It takes a couple years.
How many high school guys that weigh 300 pounds actually carry it right when they get to Nebraska? Once Dave Ellis starts...
Henry. Henry's a freak, dude.
Yeah.
He's a freak. Yeah. He's built pretty well.
Because once Dave Ellis starts poking and prodding you guys, I'm sure you learn that, I got a few things I got to trim up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that first year is big for everybody.
It's eye-opening.
You might not gain any weight, but your body changes completely.
And it's just, eating? I mean, obviously lifting, but like it's just simply changing your diet is a big part of it, or?
I mean, for me, the lifting definitely intensified, and then when I got here, it was all about kind of like the weight gain and the protein and all that. So, I mean, Dave does a great job of it. Duval does a great job of it. So, yeah.
I'd say the eating part, and I was kind of having this conversation the other day, and it's kind of, if like you're on like the weight gain list almost, you have to train yourself to eat when you're not hungry. Because you're going to be working it off regardless, because the workouts we do are hard enough that they're going to get you to, lose weight or whatever, and you got to replenish that as much as you can just to put on that weight.
They also do a great job of just telling us like what's good to eat, what's bad to eat, and they also do a great job of like giving us the good food to eat at the training table. Like we always meals are mandatory.
Yeah, fresh food.
And they're great food. Like I never have a problem with the meals there.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you guys can eat, like that you love? Like
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
Yeah,
Cookies, ice cream.
Yeah.
402 Creamery downstairs.
402 Creamery is not a good spot to go to. I know. It's a good spot to go.
That 5-finger kinetic combo doesn't do the job.
Caniac. The Caniac.
The Caniac.
That is dangerous.
Yeah. You don't want to be caught in one of those.
Dave Ellis probably has hidden cameras.
No, probably. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the big changes on the field. Donovan Raiola, it's never easy to go through a coaching change in your room, and you guys are obviously very close to Greg when he was here, and you get a new coach, and it's kind of like working for a company and getting a new boss. When a new boss comes in, it's not easy to adjust to a new style. How has the adjustment been? What do you guys like so far about Coach Raiola and maybe what he's brought to the room? I'll just kind of toss it up and let you guys go.
Well, after having 3 O-line coaches, you kind of take what's the best of like all the other coaches, and then take what's the best from the new guy and like meld them together to like be the best you can be. Like I still like do some old technique with G and Cav, and I know I probably shouldn't be doing that, but like it's kind of just muscle memory that it's hard to break at this point.
Well, Kavanaugh was a good line coach, and he's proven that over his career. So you've had that and same with you, Trent. You've had the 3 coaches at Nebraska.
Yeah, a big thing when a new coach comes in is just buying into their mentality, figuring out what they want, and then just giving it your all the entire time. I know Coach Raiola has brought in a different mindset, and just anybody that's bought into it, you can see improvement from the first time we started doing drills in the spring to now, and it's crazy seeing the change there.
One of the things that I kind of saw was, or that I thought was helpful, was instead of all of like the offensive line changing their language for him, he would change his language for us. So if there was something that we had under Coach G that like it was pretty much the same call, he had a word for it, but we had a different call, he would let us keep that call. So like it just kind of, that transition's a bit smoother for everybody. Yeah,
that was pretty cool. But for me and Teddy, I mean, we kind of had to sit back and kind of be coaches a little bit over spring ball and kind of let Raiola teach all the other guys what to do, and then we would kind of just learn it as we go along, and then if there was something that we saw along the way, then we would help correct it. So
you hear a lot about this first step you guys take with Raiola, kind of like the way you fire off the ball. I mean, how different is kind of the attack approach maybe compared to before when you talk about the different styles?
I feel like it's just kind of more smash mouth, like down in your face. We're gonna move you off the ball.
start the attack.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how, just like move the guy, basically.
Collision versus kind of like get in the way. I mean, is that the accurate way to describe the difference? Or
I would say with G it was more like accuracy and like more technique.
spots?
Yeah. And Raiola is just get the job done.
Just knock it over.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And as players, I mean, is that fun to play that way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, less thinking, you're just attacking. It really takes a lot of the thinking away during the snap, so you can focus more pre-snap, which is kind of what we need on the offensive line.
You guys don't have Adrian, and he was a big part of the running game, and I think it's pretty clear they don't want Casey and Chuba and these guys running the ball 20 times in a game.
Mm-hmm.
So running the ball with a tailback this year is going to be a big part of it, whether it's Ramir, Anthony Grant, Jacquez Yant, Gabe Urban. You've got a group of guys. What do you see with that group? Can you get 1,000-yard back out of that group right now?
I believe so.
That's.
I mean, it's a matter of splitting out reps. It doesn't matter who's out on the field. We're going to do everything we can to get it a hole for them. So,
There's just so many guys in that room, and all of them I feel like have potential to be the starting guy, and it's just going to kind of have to be who is going to be the front runner when we bring it to Ireland, and who's going to be that guy. But I could see it being where we just rotate them through, get them all touches and stuff like that. But I just feel like that kind of what stands out is consistently they have so many talented guys in that group.
And at the end of the day, that's all on us, and we are the ones that dictate. Are we going to have a 1,000-yard back? And I know Coach Whipple and the staff are going to put us in good place to get us that.
Well, and Dedrick Mills probably should have been one. He got hurt. Maurice Washington probably should have been one, and he had other issues. So, I mean, does it feel like you have better options than maybe the past few years where it felt like you should have had 1,000-yard guys on those teams, but it just never worked itself out. And then Adrian had to take the brunt of the carries, or Wandell had to take carries, and just all the different things you guys had to kind of deal with to figure out how you wanted to run the football.
Yeah, I think a lot of that. I mean, being here for 6 years, you see a lot of how the structure of the team, like team rules. We implemented new team rules, and I think everybody is really holding on to those and taking them seriously. And I think that helps a lot too. Just everybody having a little more structure. It's player led too, so just the player led focus of that, I think, will help everybody stay on track.
I believe that everyone in the running back room could have a breakout year this year. It's just a matter of splitting those carries up, but it doesn't matter who's out on the field, where you got to get the job done.
Let's talk about Mark Whipple and what. First, we know he doesn't wear shoes. He wears them on the practice field, right?
Yeah.
And in the
Just cleats out there.
But it's different. I mean, Coach Frost used to kind of push all the buttons, run the offense from like a CEO type role. And it doesn't feel like that's the case anymore. Coach Whipple was a former head coach. He busts out those cut-ups of like Tom Brady and Bill O'Brien. Have you seen those?
I'm sure we will, though.
But just what has he brought, just kind of being somebody that Coach Frost can take a few steps back now and run the whole football team?
He definitely can do that. Like, he's bringing in his own stuff while we're also having some of the old stuff from last year and combining them too. And like, it's been a great transition so far. He's been a great coach and teaching us on like what he wants while also like being considerate of like what we've done before.
I think it's good for Frost too, because he can kind of like take a step back and look at more big picture stuff and not have to just worry offense the whole time. And it's just kind of good to see him like kind of almost have some weight lifted off his shoulders, that he has somebody who's been around the game for so long and is just there to help him and help this team win. It's just kind of cool to see.
I agree.
Play calling on game days will be interesting just to see that dynamic. Because Coach Frost has called plays for a long, long time. This will be the first year where technically he's not the play caller.
Right.
Yeah, I think he'll do a good job putting us in plays that'll make us successful in using whether it's offensive line bodies, running back bodies, fitting us into a scheme that makes us productive on the field.
All right, next up, how do you find the best five? Because I feel like there's a lot of combinations, a lot of options, and you four appear to be at least in that best five right now. How important is it that you find the correct puzzle to put together and then have some good options on this offensive line? And Turner, you're kind of one of the guys that you could play center, guard, or tackle, and I feel like they're trying you at a lot of places to see if they make sure they can get the best five guys going.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be the hardest part, is finding the five that can go out there. But I know that we have 8, 9, 10 guys that can play at the snap of a shoelace. Anyone can roll out there and just roll the ball out there, and they can play. It doesn't matter who's out there. We're going to do well.
And you have big shoes to fill with Cam Jurgens, but you've played guard before, so I mean, just the versatility you bring obviously is big too.
Yeah, I think it's just big having people that, first off, want to play, want to compete, and then also how well we can play together. That's been a big focus, especially in the off season, is just like doing everything together, whether it's just getting water together or getting in the locker room together. So, I mean, I feel like that's going to be our focus, especially going into the fall, is just like how well can we play together next to whoever's next to us.
Yeah, I feel like we do a good job of kind of plugging guys in at like across the entire line throughout like spring ball. Guys were playing different positions. Like Kevin was everywhere, Brant was everywhere. Trent was pretty much just at center. But they do a good job of like, And especially with the younger guys, making sure that the depth is there too. Like Turner said, if the guy goes down, got to have that next guy up mentality. And so the perfect five, or the starting five, the best five, those will be like those guys. But the second and the threes are not, there's like no real drop off of talent or like, knowledge of the game.
Yeah, like it's all about trust and like being able to like help each other during the game and like knowing that he's going to be there when I need his help. And that's, I think, at the level or like talent level, we're all almost so close to each other that you can't really tell, and it's just going to come down to trust.
You guys have a motto for the season, like a slogan for the team, or is there anything that you guys have kind of like talked about, like what this season is for Nebraska football?
I feel like, as a team, win. But like for touchdowns, yeah.
One touchdown.
Offense is touchdowns.
O-line, we kind of got our own thing that we have on all of our notepads, but I mean, we're going to, I think, maybe keep that in-house of what our goals are and what our standards are for the O-line.
What about you guys open up? I mean, we're taping this thing. We're 75 days away today when we're taping right now from Ireland. Mm-hmm. You guys go to Ireland finally. I mean, it feels like this game has been in the works since
for a decade.
You were in high school.
Yeah.
And Turner, I think you were in high school.
Yeah, I was.
In the works. But finally, we're going to go to Ireland for this game. I know it's a huge football game to kind of set the tone, because I go back to last year, you lost the week 0 game to Illinois, and I felt like that just spiraled the whole season from the get-go. It's like bogey in the first hole on a golf course, and you never could really get that stroke back. How important is it when you start to think about what Dublin means?
I think it's going to be big because it's a week 0 game, but we're also traveling halfway across the world to Ireland, and that brings some new challenges to preparation for a game. We're going to be practicing there. We have to get our sleep right and just adapting to a whole bunch of different challenges away from home, and it's also like the first week of school too. So I mean, it's just going to be a lot of stuff to juggle, and I think the team that juggles it the best is who's going to end up winning it.
Yeah, Raiola says a lot. Northwestern doesn't care with how we're feeling right now. They don't care about how we're feeling, and that's just kind of the mindset we have to have. Is we have to do everything right now preparing for Northwestern and for Dublin, and I feel like we're doing a pretty good job of that right now.
Once we get that ball starts rolling at that game, and we need that.
What about you, Turner?
I agree.
All right, you won't have a lot of time in Dublin to do much, but give me one thing you hope to do out there on that trip.
Win the game.
Win the game. Well, besides on the field. And maybe you're just going to stay in a hotel and chill the whole week. But like, if you can get to do one thing on this trip and take advantage of the opportunity, what are you going to do?
There's those cliffs or something in Ireland. I want to see those or something, and I just get to see a different culture and see how things are over there. That's obviously, like, everybody wants to go visit Europe at some point, but I mean, this is kind of a work trip, so the focus is going to be different, but I hope we can go see a few things out there.
I'm Irish, last name Corcoran, it's Irish. So I know me and my family are pretty excited about going out there and getting to actually experience, our culture. So that'll be fun.
Into a pub.
Exactly, I'll be 21, but no, I'm not going to be drinking on this trip.
How about you, Teddy?
I'm just going to eat some food. I don't know if they got any like Irish delicacies over there, but I'm going to go check those out and see if there's anything good.
There is. Well, they don't even eat that. That's like Americanized. Like there is a steakhouse, a pretty good one in Dublin. I went to, but it's all grass-fed meat, but pretty good. You'll How about you, Broc?
I haven't really thought about it. Like, it's a business trip, not vacation. So just worried about getting the right mindset and winning the game.
At least nobody said Guinness or Jameson. That might get
Right.
But guys, lots of fun. Appreciate you guys taking a chance to sit down here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, that wraps it up here with the offensive line for Husker Online at ABM. I'm Sean Callahan.